The chin is slightly elevated. You know, he's got the one arm resting on his knee. Like we said earlier, the knee is up on the side. He's taking up so much space and he looks so relaxed.
Won't you bring a little water? Bring a little wine. Bring a little loving, and I'll be fine. Know that you want to, and I know that you do. Come in here and love with me.
Hello and welcome to another body language analysis video. I thought I would do Cliff Booth from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Brad Pitt's character. Sorry if you hear excess noise outside. They're doing some work out there on a new building. Looks nice. I might move over there. But sorry about the noise, if you can hear it, that is. But we're going to have a little analysis of... there it goes. I think you can hear it. You can have a little analysis of 4 clips. The one where he's having a fight on the ranch. The Bruce Lee clip. I think probably the one when he meets the young girl in the car. And maybe one more. I'll look into it. I think maybe the one where he sat outside the trailer. But let's get started.
You embarrassed me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How'd your little talk with George go? Are we kidnapping him?
Not the word I'd use.
So we can already see here, guys, the way he's just focused forward. Let's get the old trusty pen out. What should we use? Let's use a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood orangey type color. That orangey yellow. See what we got. Yeah. Let's go with the darker ones. We can see it. So as we can see, he's just walking forward. He's just looking forward. She's kind of like... And for the sake of this video, this woman in real life is 25. I know she's supposed to be like 15, 16 in this video, but I think it'll make it awkward to speak about it if I don't mention that at the beginning. But we've got an attractive woman following him. He's just looking straight forward. He's not interested. He's moving away. You know, he's completely ignoring her. He's got the wide hands here, as we can see as well. You know, that McGregor type of strut. Good shoulder posture as well. That looks fantastic. If we just roll this on again. Actually, no, let's bring this back. Listen to these 2 responses.
Go. Are we kidnapping him?
Not the word I'd use.
Well, now that you've talked to him, do you believe everything's all right?
Not exactly.
So those 2 responses there, they're very short. They're very to the point. Not exactly, not the word I'd use. You know, they're very blunt, short, to the point responses. And with him walking straight forward, not even looking at her, this is such, you know, a real alpha male move. The charisma that he's showing in this whole film is unbelievable. I can see why so many guys are already trying to dress like him, pull off his image. And I can see why the film was so successful amongst especially the male population, who really saw him as like a kind of Fight Club icon. I think this performance is on par with that. You can see why. And by the way, I've not reviewed this video first. I thought I've got limited time today. I want to get loads of stuff done. So I've just kind of just played this from the start, and I'm just going to analyze it as I see it.
This was a mistake. You should leave.
Way ahead.
Again, another short response. Oh, and also, guys, I think it's worth noting that he's about to lose the woman. He doesn't care less. I think a lot of guys struggle with that, where, you know, the woman will threaten them and give them some shit comment like, oh, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go, fine, you know, go on your own. And the guy will like turn around, oh, no, sorry, you know, and go against his word. But Brad is very much just, okay, yeah, fine. I'll keep moving. Not a problem with me. And you can see how much it affects her here.
George isn't blind! You're the blind one!
Now, just to take note, I think this clip is extremely, or this part of the clip is extremely important. The way that everyone's shouting at him, giving him abuse, and the way he's just blocking it all out and just walking straight forward, ignoring it all completely. I know I'm going to get comments on this video, guys, because I always do about, hey, it's a movie, it's not real life, don't take it so seriously. But the reason why these movies appeal so much to people is that body language experts and psychology experts are all part of these big teams. And that's basically what actors are, is body language experts. And they will, on psychology experts too, and they will have teams of people analyzing how Brad should move in this scene, how he should react to give off a certain persona that's going to impress the audience more. And that's exactly what's happening here. So anybody who says, oh, this is bullshit, it's just a film, it's not, okay? This is, if you did this in real life, this is the same impression it would give off. So what the actors are doing is mimicking what would work in real life. So there's so much to learn from this. But if we watch this clip, watch how, what's the word I would use? Watch how, and I don't want to say relaxed because it's too easy to say, I guess unreactive. Throughout all of these clips, that's the one thing I've noticed about the character Booth. Can't remember his first name now. Cliff Booth. That's the one thing I've noticed, is how relaxed he is throughout the whole of this. You know, he's unreactive, unresponsive. No matter what happens, whatever situation he's in control at all times. And this is definite in this moment here. Look at that, the way he's just swilling his keys, looking at them like they're nothing. He's completely unfazed. He hasn't sped up his walk. Some people might feel threatened. And they might get out there a little bit quick, run to the car, etc. But he's just so relaxed. He kind of looks like he's actually enjoying himself and enjoying the commotion. As we can see then, another slow movement from Brad. Let's see if we can take this back. Watch how slow this is. You can see that he's angry, but again, he's not reacting. You know, most people would probably turn around, start shouting, screaming and swearing. He knows how to deal with this, and he's not going to show them that he's affected by it. It's a real alpha move.
Do that? You know, that's not my car. That's my boss's car. And if something were to happen to my boss's car, well, I'd get in trouble.
I just want to show here he's in great shape, someone who's nearly 60. But the width, so got the elbow out here, the hand on the hip, and the elbow out here. It casts quite a wide frame from Brad, as we can see here. He's quite a large guy, especially for his age. But he's cast in a kind of authoritative figure, especially with the hand on the hip. You know, that makes him look very authoritative. He's staring this guy down. He means business. If he wasn't holding these shades here, I'm sure this arm would also be on the hip, but then it would maybe look a little bit too on the nail, if you get what I mean. Let's play this on. I think that was very important. Like I said, I haven't reviewed this. I'm just kind of remembering from when I watched it. But watch his eye contact here. He doesn't break eye contact when he makes his way to the left. I think I might have to take it back a little bit more. Let's play it from here.
Well, I'd get in trouble.
Do you see that? The way he held eyes for a lot longer? That's a very serious look.
Lucky for you, he's got a spare.
And he's still looking there.
Fix it.
The way he was just throwing stuff on the floor, the way he commandingly just said, fix it, and then just pierced his eyes straight at him. You know, it gives off the persona or the aura of a guy who always gets his own way, but in an assertive manner. He kind of expects the guy to come over and fix it. He's not questioning it. He's not saying please or should you. You know, he's saying fix it, because if you don't, there's going to be consequences. It's very authoritative.
Fuck you.
The way he paused before he came over there as well. Obviously, the guy said "fuck you." The way Brad paused and then came over, there's kind of like a reluctance to want to beat his ass. He's like, okay, fair enough. If that's what it's going to be, I guess I'm going to have to. Like, I kind of asked you to fix it. You didn't. Guess I'm going to have to come over and smack you in the nose.
Fuck you.
Look, we can see here, ready? There was kind of a reluctance, and I think that's quite a badass move where, you know, he pauses for a second, contemplates it, and says, if that's what the guy wants to do, that's what he wants to do. There was no fear. He knew what move 2 was. Move 1 was the guy fixes it. Move 2 was, we're going to have to just hit this guy. I think that's something we need to do in the modern era more as well. I mean, not necessarily hit people, but people always say violence isn't the key, aggressiveness isn't the key. You know, you can start with the nicey nice. You can start with asking people, please, maybe do this, you know. If they don't, then, you know, and it needs to get done and it is kind of their problem. I think more of us need to say, okay, fuck you. Here's what it's going to be. And then come out with the major consequence. And, you know, don't be afraid of what comes off the other side of that. I definitely think that's something that we've lost in this era. And I'm not saying go over and smack somebody in the nose. I'm just saying maybe, I don't know, let's say you're stood on the side of the road with a woman. Maybe she's your girlfriend. She's going crazy at you, shouting and screaming. You say, get in the car. Come on, we're going home. This is embarrassing. Maybe she says no. Okay, I'll just drive off. You know, it's just like, there's option 1. You didn't do it. Here's option 2. Bye. You know, it's just, I'll give you a way out. Here's the severe consequence. And I think that's something we need to do more rather than, you know, kind of being little bitches about things. Let's watch his punch. Wide stance. Boom! Beautiful. And again, we can see there, I think that's probably going to be the end of the best bits of this, I'm not sure. But we can see, sorry to pause on this bit, but you can see how unfazed Brad is. He's just knocked a guy out, everybody shouting at him, watch this. Just tucking his shades in, just looking up, you know, chin elevated up in the air, eyes forward, very relaxed, hands by his side, unless something's going on here. But even when he's tucking these away, you know, wide elbow, very, very impressive stuff. I think some of these actors are a much higher level than we think they are.
Ladies.
Sorry, I love that bit. Okay, let's move on to the next clip. Okay, so here we have clip 2. This is Brad going up onto the rooftop. Now, the bit I want to show is when he heads... Fair play, he's in some fantastic shape for somebody of his age. Unbelievable. I'm sure there's some supplements, but he looks great. Now, I want to show you this part here of how relaxed he is, how he sat. He looks like the coolest guy you're ever going to see. And I'll roll this on. So the way he responded there, you know, he's taken up a lot of space, as we can see here. He's got his arm wide here. So technically he's taken up 2 seats and the roof space. He's got his leg up here, which is a very relaxed stance. The way he's got a cigarette in his mouth, and I'm not promoting smoking. That's why these are so hard to do. But the way that he... Hello, probably hear my dog. The way that he's just said... I forgot what I was going to say because of my dog coming in. But the way he's just, hello, Randy. You know, very relaxed. The way he said it, just looked up. He's not surprised. He knows the guy necessarily doesn't like him, but he just feels indifferent about it. Quite aloof.
So you're still direct. Still here.
That was a very cool move there. If we have a look at this, the way he just kind of angles his hand to the side, lifts his hand up. Watch how slow and relaxed this is.
Still here.
Although Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her name, the blonde woman, playing Sharon Tate, I think everyone knows who I mean, Margot Robbie. They got most of the plaudits, but I think Brad Pitt was unbelievable in this. I think he was a superstar. It's such subtlety to the acting, the way he was moving, just angle the head, lift the hand up, you know. But this might be the coolest role of all time.
In there? Yeah, it's not.
Again, short responses. Yeah, just not. Cigarette out the mouth. Lean onto your own knee. Again, so cool and relaxed. Now they're going to go inside with Leo. They're going to come out. He's going to have a chat. Blah, blah, blah. To be fair, this scene, I'm going to play this scene too. So this is the one where apparently he murdered his wife. Not condoning that too.
The shittiest weather on the shittiest boat with the shittiest person.
So his wife is just bitching him out, saying all horrible things. He's completely unfazed. He doesn't make us. Yeah, he might have murdered her at the end, but how relaxed he was throughout this whole thing. He was unfazed.
Natalie, my sister, said he's a loser. He's a loser. They all said it. He's a fucking loser. I didn't do it. So I guess I'm a fucking yeah.
And again, there he opens the beer. The beer splats all over his mask. He didn't even flinch. Again, unreactive. That's what this whole entire thing is about. So I've done James Bond ones, I've done other ones, and they've got certain traits which stand out, but for these videos it's definitely all about the unreactiveness of Brad Pitt's character Cliff Booth. Just not fazed by anything. No matter, I've put him in 6 or 7 different situations in all of these clips. Not once has he looked as though he's flustered.
Having compliments? What, you don't feel like fighting? Well, I feel like fucking fighting since I've been here by myself for 4 hours on this fucking shithole of a boat.
And that's not to say that he wasn't fazed, he wasn't angry, etc. But the way he doesn't show it, and he's not holding it in, he's not keeping it down, he's just reacting in a more positive way. It's really cool. This pose here as well, this is fantastic. Look at this, one arm over the seat. The chin is slightly elevated. You know, he's got the one arm resting on his knee. Like we said earlier, the knee is up on the side. He's taking up so much space and he looks so relaxed. That's an unbelievable alpha pose. There's so many cues here. Like I said, I haven't reviewed this, but watch how slow this head turn is. Completely unfazed again. Things just moving around him and he's just subtly reacting to them. This is a masterclass in body language.
Okay, you fucking horse's ass. Let's get
See that even when he got some good news, he just slightly smiled, another toke on the cigarette. He's barely moved, and watch how slowly he gets up. You know, hand went up onto the top again, grabbed it, just slowly pulled himself up and out. You know, he's not too eager. If the guy had said no, he would have shrugged his shoulders and moved on. It's a very, very attractive trait.
Now I'll put you in wardrobe. You don't snug, I don't fit.
You can see when he's walking as well. It's not an exaggerated Conor McGregor one, but his arms are out in comparison with here, whose arms are in. I know he's wearing a coat, but his arms are really out. And when he walks, you can see his feet are slightly pointed. The back one isn't, but the front one, he's slightly pointing them, and he's not got the widest of hips. So, you know, you very much expect a straight line parallel footwalk. But as we can see with Brad, when he's walking here, there's not much of a sway. He's very confident and upright, which is good. But we'll be able to see, watch his toes point out slightly left and right.
Appreciate the opportunity, Randy. I will let you.
See, we can see it there. They were slightly flicking up. Let's move on to the next clip. Okay, so in this clip, he's going to meet that woman who, like I said, in real life is 25. So if I say anything, shut up. He's very relaxed. He's in the car, one hand on the wheel, one hand on the roof, the shades on, looking cool as usual, everything we expect. Now I want you guys to notice the difference between the girl who's super excited, she's raising the pitch of her voice, she's, you know, showing that she's excited to see him, hands and everything waving around, and Brad just a slight smile, you know, the hand just slightly raised up in the air, very relaxed, but again unreactive. And this continues throughout this whole clip, which is a bit of a longer one, so we'll point out the best bits. There's a little head nod, a head raise, the hand going up again. You see how relaxed and smooth all of his movements are. He's, you know, he's not too impressed. If she didn't see him, he might have just drove on by. And that's the difference between, I think, top level men and mid level men or low level men, is that the top level men, they act this way because if it went right or wrong, they're unbothered. So here, she's just screamed, "Fuck you, fucking pigs," to the police. And you would think, oh, what a crazy woman, but watch how relaxed his response is. Let me play it again. He's just laughing, just saying, oh no, like, what am I getting myself in for? But he knows how much of, you know, he's a rock solid guy, you know, he's tough in this film. He's unfazed by anything. He never feels as though he's in danger at any point. So, you know, this crazy girl could get in the car and he's just like, oh no, this could be fun or crazy. Like, who knows what's going to happen. Completely unfazed again.
Hello, hot stuff.
Looks like they're kind of charms.
How are those pickles?
And it's the same again here, as we can see. If we just go back, if it'll let me go back. Let me just play it.
Looks like they're kind of charms.
Here we can see, again, he's got one hand on the wheel, taking up a ton of space. He's got the hand over the whole seat, taking up more space. You know, just have a look at the amount of room being filled up by Brad. You know, that's a very wide arm stance. When he's leaning over and talking to her, makes him look extremely confident. Let's play this on. I think that was important too. The way she like jumped into the window. A lot of guys might have like sat back, changed their position. He didn't flinch. He stayed in the exact same position, which I think was pretty cool.
So good. They were the fancy kind. Give me a lift.
Where are you going?
I think that's important too. You know, he's saying how important his time is. So she says, "Give me a lift," and he says, "Where you going?" Just in case she's going somewhere he's not, then he's not going to give her a lift. Now, a lot of guys will see an attractive woman and say, "Yeah, jump in, it's fine. Oh, I'll go out of my way. It's not a problem." It's quite a submissive move. Whereas Cliff, you know, he's worried about where she's headed. If you're not going my way, there's no point taking you.
I'm going to Chatsworth.
Chatsworth. You hitch up and down Burbank Boulevard all day till someone says I'm driving to Chatsworth.
Tourists love to drink. I'm their favorite part of their LA vacation. You know, they'll be telling stories about Hollywood, hippie girl, the ride to the movie ranch for the rest of their lives.
Wait, Spawn Movie Ranch?
Yeah.
That's where you're going, Spawn Movie Ranch.
The entire time as well, I've only just noticed this. But his eye contact has been fantastic. He hasn't looked away, looked at the road. You know, he's parked on a side road. It's quite dangerous, really, because it's not exactly a parking space. But he's kept his eyes fixed on the woman's eyes the entire time, even though she's like poking her head through his car. You wouldn't forgive him for looking away, like leaning back. She's quite intense as well, the way she's staring, and he hasn't flinched. So that's a very alpha move. Even when she moved, he followed her.
Alone?
No. You're my friends.
So you and a bunch of friends like you all live at Spawn Movie Ranch.
Yeah.
Hop in, I'll take you there.
Great. Hollywood freeway.
The way he interrupted her there as well. I interrupted her. I saw this bit earlier. You know, she's trying to give him directions. He just turns, stares at her and says, I know where it is, and just holds that eye contact. That was a very, very smooth move. I'm not saying you should always interrupt women, but, you know, if you already know and you can hold that eye contact afterwards, that's a very, very alpha trait. See how long he held it for there? I think we should watch that again. He actually let her look away first, even though he's driving, which is, you know, a very brave move. Makes him look very strong.
He's some old cowboy guy that needs to make moves there.
Whoa. I'm surprised how accurate that description of me really is. Some old cowboy guy that used to shoot movies and spawn rabbits.
So you used to take westerns at the ranch back in the old timey days.
Again, although I don't know how many guys would allow this, but she's put her feet up onto the front of the car. He could have reacted or changed his look. He just kind of like glanced at them and just ignored it. Again, unreactive. That's what this entire thing is about, being in control, reactive and calm.
Well, if by the old timey days you mean television 8 years ago, yeah.
Reactive?
No, I'm a stomach.
Stop it. That's way better.
Why is that way better?
Actors are phony.
Oh.
They just say lines that other people write and pretend to murder people on their stupid TV shows. Meanwhile, real people are being murdered every day in the county.
Okay, this scene here I think is very, really important.
Want me to stump your cocktail, guy?
The way that she's just asked that question, he kind of like does a little glance, but he's not taken back by it. He's very, very relaxed, and he stops and thinks. You know, see, so the majority of men, if they got asked that question, would be like, yes, quick, now. But how relaxed he is, the way he's like stopped, thought about it, you know, he's weighing up the consequences of this. And he has the self-control to question her age, which I think is fantastic.
How old are you?
Wow, man. First time anybody asked that in a long time.
What's the answer?
Okay. You play kitty games? 18. Feel better?
You got some ID, you know, like a driver's license or something?
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. I need to see something official that verifies that you're 18, which you don't have because you're not.
Talk about a breakdown bummer, dude. That's you.
Yeah.
I think this is important too, because obviously he's established she's younger, but for the purpose of this, in real life, like I said, she is 25. But the way she's like led across his lap, trying to, I guess, encourage him to do what she asked. And the way he doesn't flinch, he doesn't move, he just carries on driving rather than saying, look, oh, I could crash, this is distracting. You know, again, like I said, unresponsive, unfazed, just staying calm. It's such an attractive quality and a trait, you know, in men, I think. And I think it's an attractive quality that women look for, and I think other men are drawn to, and they want to hang around with guys like that. Okay, and we'll shoot forward to the final clip now. Now, I'm sure you guys are going to love this clip. This is probably a lot of people's favorite from the film. Quick disclaimer. Watched all the Bruce Lee films when I was a kid with my dad. And yeah, the guy's fast, good striking, unbelievable. But I think it was in an era where you could fool people into like WWE in the early 90s. I think you could fool people into thinking somebody was genuinely tough just from a film. I saw that Bruce Lee only had I think it was like 1 or 2 actual real scheduled fights, professional bouts that can actually be registered and talked about. He had a boxing fight which he won when he was younger, but the headline from the newspaper was something like 17-year-old German boy steals the show, who fought in another fight, which I think is really, really important because it shows that Bruce was good, but he wasn't good enough to catch the headlines. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, nah, I don't know if Bruce Lee was all that special, you know? If he came up against like a 220-pound man, like 6'4" or something, who could throw like an MMA guy who's not even at the top level, I think they'd kick his ass. In his weight class, I think somebody like what would he be in? Somebody like McGregor could probably fight this guy. I don't think he beats like McGregor, Max Holloway. I think they'd have too many tools for him. I think what would it be? Kung Fu and all that. You know, somebody just double legs you, takes you to the floor, just mounts you. I'm not sure if he'd be prepared for that. So I think outside of his own skill set and his weight class, I think he would very much struggle. So I think the whole Bruce Lee thing is blown out of proportion. But for the sake of the body language video, let's move this on.
Won't let you fight like that. It's very frustrating. You stand in front of a guy, you just want to let him have it.
Okay, I think what's important here is that everybody has their eyes locked on Bruce. Whereas Cliff is just kind of looking at the floor, somewhat bored. I think he does believe that this guy is fake. He's just, you know, holding his drink, wide legs. Everyone else, as you can see here, we've got legs close together, relatively close together. But we can see here he's got that wide seated stance. This is the only time when looking down is good, when you're just disrespecting somebody. So he's just kind of disillusioned with it all. He's just looking down at the floor. Everyone else is fixed on Bruce, just thinking, what a superstar. As we can see here, that's obviously the image that they're trying to portray. I wonder if I can get rid of all of this. Yes, that's a quick way of doing it. Still new with this software. But the way he's just sat there relaxed, he's just ignoring him. I think he knows he's full of shit, but let's move this on.
But you can't.
See the way there that he just kind of smirked and took a sip of his drink as well. Let's bring this back. Watch this.
But you can't.
You know, he's the only one who knows the realness behind this.
So you gotta do this play acting patty cake version. Cassius Clay, Sonny Liston, Joe Louis. The color boxer, not that white kickboxing asshole. They do what they need to do to win. They unleash as much punishment as they have to.
It's still the same there, but he raises an eye, glances up at him, as if the guy's not really worth his time. You know, he's just talking shit. He's just glancing up, just kind of more humorous than anything.
To defeat the other guy. But in martial arts,
I just touch on that again. It's kind of like the guy's not worth my full look. He's not worth my full attention. It's a very alpha move.
I do to win what they do to win. I unleash all my power. I kill people. Well, if you fought Cassius Clay, who would win? Well,
And that got his attention. So the Cassius Clay thing, this is kind of like the last straw for him, hence why he just glanced up.
that would never happen.
But if you did, what do you think would happen?
I'd make him a cripple.
He just couldn't hold it in anymore. He had to laugh.
Hey, you.
See, that bit there, I'm surprised. I think they should have done that better. When he said, hey, you, he looked too quickly. So here's a fault in the film. Ready? He says, hey, you, watch.
Hey, you.
I think he glanced up too quickly. I think they should have waited another second or two and then he glanced up slower. Because I think he's shown him too much respect. That was a very beta male move.
What's your name?
Me?
Yeah, you.
My name's Cliff. I'm Rick Dalton's stunt double.
Stuntman.
Yeah.
You know,
But again, he's back to the alpha stuff where he's doing like slow responses, very short. And when he's responding like half a second later rather than, yes, sir, I'll answer quickly.
oh, you're kind of pretty for a stuntman.
That's what they tell me.
So, did I say something funny, stuntman?
Yeah, you kind of did.
What's so funny?
Look, man, I don't want any trouble. I'm just here to do a job.
But you're laughing at what I'm saying.
Again, he's kind of saying that the guy's not really worth his time or attention. That's why he's just kind of waving it all off, laughing, looking to the side. He's not taking this seriously.
But I'm not saying anything funny. So what do you think is so funny?
What I think is, you're a little man with a big mouth and a big chip. And I think you should be embarrassed to suggest you be anything more than a stain on the seat of Cassius Clay's trunks.
Brother, you're the one with the big mouth. And I would really enjoy closing it, especially in front of all my friends. But my hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight, I accidentally kill you. I go to jail.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter.
The way he's keeping eye contact throughout all of these speeches now, it shows that he's getting a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more serious. Now he knows that it is worth his time because this could lead to a fight. But he still looks extremely relaxed with the hand on the hip.
I think all that lethal weapon horse shit is just an excuse so you dancers never have to get in a real fight.
Okay. How about a friendly contest? No punching in the face. 2 out of 3. Who puts who on the ground first? Nobody tries to hurt nobody. Just who ends up on that butt?
The way he puts the milk down, I think it's milk, the way he puts it down very slowly, he doesn't respond yet. Very slow, gradual movements. This is impressive. The way he actually slammed it down with a bit of impact as well, that was, again, another impressive move. That was deliberate from the team.
That's a great idea, Kato.
And the way he rises to the challenge, so a fight's been proposed, straight away, he's game for it. I think that's very impressive, especially in an era where most people try and avoid one. You know, for good reason, but it's still impressive to see. But that was the analysis of Cliff Booth. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Something a little bit different again, bringing back the body language analysis stuff. Because he doesn't really do a lot, it was quite difficult to find, you know, exact moments where he's trying to impress a woman, etc. He's just the same guy in every clip where he's unresponsive, he's very relaxed. And I think that's the one thing you should take from this. So the James Bond clips and other clips, you know, somebody might be deliberately doing body language, intense eyes, you know, holding somebody in a certain way. McGregor's like faking the whole walk and stuff. They're over-exaggerated, they're easy to analyze. This is very much more subtle. But the one thing I want you to take from this is the unresponsive nature that he has. No matter what situation he's in, he responds to it perfectly by not really responding at all. The whole proactive versus reactive situation, he kind of sits, you know, at the proactive side, but proactive without really doing anything. So he's proactive in his thought pattern, you know, rather than his actions. So he's just relaxed about it all. He's not jumping around, screaming and, you know, reacting to these things. He's being proactive in the sense of it's the right thing to do, but there's not really a lot that he's doing to get to that goal or to get to that outcome, if that makes sense. So sometimes less is more, and I think that's the epitome of what all of these videos are about, and the performance from Brad Pitt of Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.